Here we are, Abe Cast Iron Brains, a podcast that barely remembers how to do this. My name is Bob, sitting across the way from my good friend and co-host. That's Abe. How you doing tonight, Abe?
Doing well, Bob.
Yeah, here we are. Lori's here too. How you doing tonight, Lori?
I'm still pissed off, but not at you.
Lori's still pissed off, but mercifully not at me. We are approaching 9 p.m. on the 20th of April, 2026, here on the East Coast on a Monday night.
Is this Hitler's Day?
420. Everybody's super high.
That's right.
That's what you're supposed to do. Abe, yeah, you went to Tampa.
Oh, yes.
We didn't record last week. That's why we didn't record last week, because you went to Tampa
right.
2 weekends ago.
Important work in Tampa. Yes, I went down there. By the way, I think has happened at least once before, and I'm a bit concerned. Random, teenage kids come up to me on occasion, well, not occasion, on 2 occasions now, including most recently in Tampa, where they come up to me and they're like, hey, can I pray for you? Like, it's one of these Christian outfits. I don't know, do I look like my life is heading in the wrong direction to such an extent that
Were you walking drunkenly out of the strip club at the moment that the teenagers approached you? Was it once again 11 o'clock in the morning and you stumbled out of the strip club?
This was, in fact, not that case. I think this happened at an outlet mall in broad daylight, at high noon. This is not like I'm the only target, for this sort of harassment. There are a lot of choices, and they are choosing me to. I'm like, no, I'm good on the prayer.
Is it a question of consent as to whether or not you can pray for someone?
No.
I didn't realize we had to ask permission.
This is the same thing about Abe that makes the strangers in the bars immediately friends with him. Like the people telling him their life story.
Yes, that's
he
right.
is so unthreatening, but not in a pathetic way.
Yeah.
This guy is not going to judge me.
Yes.
Or
What did you say? Did you say go nuts, man?
I could have swore I said, I think I'm good on the prayer, but thanks.
Do they want to pray with you, for you? Is that the consent question? Will you lower your head with me as I lay my hands upon you and commune with the Lord?
I've never taken them up on it, which I guess is a mistake now that I think about it. I should just to play this out. I don't know what that means. Do they ask for, have you sinned recently? How far or is this some general prayer? I don't know. I don't know what happens.
I think I would say, yeah, go nuts, man. Have a good one. Sure.
Maybe can you do it without my presence? You can pray for somebody from.
No, I'm not sticking around. I'm giving them the glad hand and have a good one.
There's nothing in the rules that says you have to be physically there. Anyways, the trip was great. Tampa is not a city that's striving to be great. This sounds like a knockdown comment.
What is the drive? 8-9 hours?
5 hours, maybe.
Oh, really?
6 hours?
5 hours from Atlanta to Tampa?
6 hours, something 6 hours, maybe. I should correct that. But not very long. Very quick. Get there pretty fast. And the city is built oddly because there's also St. Petersburg, and then they call this Clearwater Beach location. Not that
that's
clear
where
as
all
day.
the Scientologists are.
Oh, is that where they are?
The Clearwater, yeah.
Yeah. But it was a fun, just low-key kind of day. For the first time, I think it's the first time, I woke up my work schedule hours, at 7 in the morning, without any prompting. There's I'm just up. Usually, I'm tired from the day before. So whatever I'm doing is very low effort to the point where I can wake up on time. So I'm going to try to model this going forward. Next month is Detroit, which should also be fun. I'm not driving up there. I'm just flying.
So your review of your trip to Tampa is that Tampa's not trying to be great, and it was fine.
Yes, and that works. That's why I
that.
like going to places like Tampa. If you try to go to one of these posh places, there's all this expectation to do things, but just kick rocks and enjoy. You're in Tampa.
Well, good. They should put you. They should give you the key to the city. Put you on the commercials.
It could work. This
Did you make it to a baseball game or anything? What did you?
No,
what did you
that
do?
was the one thing that had to get cut. So I went to a music festival on Friday, and where did I go? Oh, a beach day on Saturday. Oh, great! I just buy like a day pass, and you have access to all the amenities. And I was like, just got there.
What kind of amenities are you concerned with at
Like
the beach?
a shower if needed, like those kind of amenities. And just they have a place where you can just kind of chill. And
Like
so
your
I
own
did
spot,
that.
like you get a
Yeah.
chair or something.
Yeah.
Like you get
And
your
I
own
was there,
spot.
like, very early.
The Gulf Coast, or was it something else? Like a bay?
I think it was some Clearwater Beach resort
Yeah.
in that general strip. But there
It
are a
was
lot of
real
different
pretty,
names.
wasn't it?
What's that?
Did you watch the sunset?
No, I was there like at 10 a.m. until like
That's a stupid time to be
Until,
there.
like,
You should watch the
5 or
sunset.
something.
Go back. Go back. Try harder.
more recently, this past weekend here in Atlanta, I guess because of the America's 250th coming up in a couple of months, the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra decided to put on a free show at the park near me. So I rode my bike over there. Chillier than usual day for some reason, and they just put on a great show for like 90 minutes. The place was packed. There were just so many people to see this. So I don't know if
Nice.
orchestras across
were they
the
playing
country.
like a patriotic?
Yeah, they were doing some
anthem type
patriotic stuff. They did some stuff from some movies that are like American-ish, And so I don't know if this is coordinated with other symphonies, if they're doing something similar in other parts of the country, but it was a pretty good time.
Well, good. Sounds lovely. We have just been doing youth baseball pretty much every day, all the time.
It's so much. What's funny is my clients will be like, "How's baseball?" And I'm like, "I don't think you understand the question you're asking me." Because I think you're asking me, like, how is your kid's season going? And I don't have that answer for you. I think most parents are happy. I think the concession stand's fine, except on Tuesdays when I can't be there, when it's also the busiest. What was the question?
How's it going?
Like, don't. It's
Yeah.
so much baseball.
I was umpiring a game tonight, and I umpire a lot of games here in this little league. I also
Most of them, in a way.
coach a lot of the games. Yep.
Is that, would you consider that to be more demanding than coaching?
No, not demanding. I feel less pressure.
It's more physically taxing.
Yeah, it's probably more physically taxing. Squatting all night long,
Right.
sort of thing.
Yelling. Well, I guess you yell when you're coaching. It's very cold
I'm not
down
nearly
here.
as drained after a game of umpiring as I am after a game coaching. Like, coaching will take it out of you.
Yeah.
I was umpiring tonight, and I have, if anything, I have a tight strike zone for.
This is what I mean when people are like, "How's baseball?" It's like, okay,
Here we
you
go.
ready?
For children this age. This is the game I umpired tonight was a game 9 to 10-year-olds, mostly 10-year-olds, a few 9s sprinkled in. And, I try to give a little bit off the plate and a tiny little bit inside. And, letters to just below the knees sort of thing. Essentially, if the ball is hittable and the kid is properly addressing the plate, I want to call that a strike. Now, if a kid is a foot off the plate, like he's not fully, because he's scared, right?
Right.
So he's not fully addressing the plate, I might actually give a couple more inches inside and not give anything on the outside because he physically could not
The
reach
range, right,
a pitch that was off the plate. Now, if the pitcher throws a pitch and it's on the plate, even if the kid can't reach it, I'm going to ring him up. It's going to be a strike. But I might give a couple inches on the inside part when the kid is, nearly out of the batter's box. But for the most part, I just call it a strike zone, and I hold them to a higher standard than most other umpires who would be calling this sort of a game are holding them to. And so, whatever, it's fine. But I had a coach tonight his kid struck out on 3 consecutive pitches, and they were all fully had the plate. I mean, 3 down the pipe, meatball style pitches. And it was the 3rd out of the inning. I ring him up, and they turn it over.
Is he one of the shyer batters, or is he like away from?
Yeah, he's one of the less likely to swing, period. And then, yes, also sort of a little bit scared up there. But yeah, the kid is walking off, and he's like mad because he's like, those weren't strikes. I was like, those were strikes, kid. Coach pulls him aside, and I couldn't hear every word because he was being very quiet about it, to his credit, I suppose. But he's telling the kid that it's not your fault; it's the umpire's fault. Like you did great. Those were not strikes, and you struck out because it's not your fault. And I know what he's doing there.
He's trying to be nice. What he's not trying to do is say that Bob was doing a bad job with the strike zone. That's not what's happening.
And I don't care when people think I'm doing a bad job.
Yes, but he also doesn't think that.
Sure, but to be clear, I don't care if you think I'm doing a bad job. I know when I really blow one. Like I blew a call at first base over the weekend, or middle of last week. And then when I saw that team again this weekend, I walked up to them and I was like, hey, I blew that call at first base. Good news is that was in a 15-5 game that you guys won by that score anyway. So no harm, no foul. But I just wanted to tell you, we make mistakes, right? Such is life. And because it was such a crazy play, I couldn't immediately correct it. Like if it was just that I signaled safe and the kid should have been out, I have no problem overturning myself. Like I have no problem turning on what I just said if I know immediately that I screwed it up. But unfortunately, it was one of these plays where I signal safe at first base, and then like 4 other things happen in the play because there were other runners on, so that the ball gets thrown around a couple times. And so I have to make like 3 other calls on this play. And so I'm not going to then go back to the very first domino in the chain and be like, you know what, I blew that. So he's out, but everything else that happened is going to stand. It's like, no, that's just baseball. That's just life. I fucked it up and it's fine. In any event, tonight, I know what he's doing there when he says, hey, it's not your fault, the umpire, bad umpire or whatever. He's trying to protect the psychological well-being of the kid who's crying because he just struck out. Also, he's not making him a better ball player. And he is, in fact, making him a worse ball player moving forward. It is doing the opposite of helping to tell that kid who just watched 3 strikes go by that he just needs to swing no matter what, or that it's not his fault that he struck out. Right? Because those were 3 good strikes, and it was the kid's fault for not taking the bat off of his shoulder. And he needs to be told that.
Right. It seems like short-term upside is, the kid didn't feel so bad, but the lessons learned from this moment going forward is not promising, right? Because basically, if that's the mindset that you're instructing your children to have, it's not a good one, to where like it's somebody else's fault.
Right. And the short-term upside is just the very fleeting feeling of, and it's bullshit. Sorry, these kids know when it's bullshit, and because it's such such weak sauce, it's not nourishing to be told that you were the victim here, right? And it, I mean, not to get a too big picture about it, but now you're teaching them that authority figures are bullshit.
Yes,
you're teaching them that the umpire has no rightful authority here. He can't tell you whether or not you deserve to strike out. Only I can tell you that because I'm your buddy. Right, so only the guys on your team who've got your back are the ones who really know what's going on as far as you're concerned, and you can don't worry about that fucking asshole behind the plate. It's just a shitty, and I know he's not doing it out of malice. He's not. He's doing it for the opposite reason. He wants the kid to feel better in the moment, but it's not your job. Your job is to make him a better person and a better ball player, and you can do that by saying, "Hey, man, you don't want to strike out. You got to swing the bat because those look like pretty good pitches from here."
Right. Yeah, that could have been basically just shift the framing. Like that could have also worked. But maybe he just like, I need to put out this fire now. This kid is emotionally fragile. I need to Just get through this moment here.
Ah, yes, that should solve the emotional fragility problem.
It's somebody else's fault. That does something to some people,
Yeah.
It does do something to some people.
Anyway. And again, like I just, it bothers me none when they think I screwed up a call. I just don't turn it into umpires are bullshit.
Yes.
Like it's just such a bad way of dealing with the question. Anyway, that's our current lives for the most part. It's all just baseball stuff. We should talk briefly probably about the news. Donald Trump is once again threatening to end Iranian civilization. I mean, not in those explicit terms.
Right.
I guess he's a little bit shy because it was a couple of weeks ago where he said, I will do genocide. I will end a whole civilization unless I get my way. And then this time he's just saying he's going to no more Mr. Nice Guy. He said literally. He said no more because he's a fucking child. No more Mr. Nice Guy. By Wednesday or something, I will blow up all of the power plants and all of the bridges in Iran. And one of these dopes from the administration went on the Sunday shows and talked to everybody and had the same exact speech planned for all of the interviews. If you saw one, you basically saw them all. Forget who it was.
Is this the energy secretary?
Mike Waltz, Ambassador Mike Waltz.
Okay.
Who's the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. And it just makes what I'm about to say worse the more I think about it. It's just saying, like, as all of the hosts are like, hey, what's the deal with the president threatening to blow up all of the power plants and bridges? And wouldn't that be more of a that would hurt the Iranian people disproportionately relative to whatever impact it might have on the regime? Is that really the best way to handle things? And he's like, don't be ridiculous. This is just normal war stuff. And also, let's get ahead of the ridiculous rhetoric around whether or not such a thing is a war crime. Like, he's not even letting Stephanopoulos or what's her name at Meet the Press, Kristen Welker, get to the, hey, doesn't this sound like a war crime question? He's getting in front of the inevitable, doesn't this sound like a war crime question by saying, last time around when he was threatening to end civilization, people started losing their heads a little bit, thinking that this was a war crime. This is not a war crime. If the Iranian government uses the bridge or the electricity from the power plant in furtherance of their army's aims, then it's a perfectly lawful target. And don't give me any of this war crime stuff. It's like, no, he said he was going to blow up all of the bridges and all of the power plants. That's an actual war crime if he were to come through on that. You can make an argument that, like, this key bridge across which the IRGC sends many troops or bombs or what have you is a legitimate target. But if you're just going to end all of the modern infrastructure in a country, that's a different conversation.
Right. Yeah, it was interesting to see the different strategies that were used, because there was I think it was Stefanik was on CNN's Jake Tapper, and a similar thing, because I think Jake Tapper linked it to from the river to the sea. That's like widely taken as like some sort of genocidal scheme, like the president.
With good reason.
Sure. And the president said, like, this was, I think, referring back to the Easter one where he was saying, like, entire civilization destruction. And she's like, no, he means the Iranian regime, which is not how most people would read entire civilization will be destroyed to read.
Do you think that comes from, like, because people are always talking about, like, the way this is, like, Iran has a long, proud history or what have you, right? Like like you're always hearing in the background, like, before the revolution, like, this is a storied part of the world, and like the birth, the cradle of civilization and all that. Like, I wonder if somehow that's what seeps, like, because Trump hears it in the back of his brain, and he's like, oh, people respect this so-called civilization. I'm going to end that civilization.
Perhaps, yeah, that would track with the way Trump sees things. And also, in any event, I mean, like, if you were to actually do that, besides it being a war crime, like, what is then the next step? The idea is to do something to bring them to to heal, to do some sort of concession to whatever demand that they're proposing. But like from what I'm reading, the next step is Iran is going to do some like civilian infrastructure damage to the nearby Gulf countries, right? The desalinization plants and the other plants that they're able to do, but would cause a lot of harm to the civilian population that lives there, right? Which would also be like a war crime kind of act. So like if you do war crimes, then the next step is more war crimes, right? And then where does that leave you? Like eventually this has to be settled in some sort of agreement. But here we are. So like these threats, I don't know who it's for. Is it just to kind of prop up the support at home to say like he's being tough? Or is it to the Iranians? Like, I don't know.
I don't think it can. The problem in part is like it's not clear what it means to communicate with Iran right now. Who is in charge?
Right.
The supreme leader is largely MIA.
Right.
There are names that I would butcher if I were to attempt to pronounce them here, who are frequently in the news stories and in the media about like, oh well, I agreed to this, and it's like, and somebody else comes out and is like, no, we didn't agree to that.
Right.
In part because it's not clear who's in charge precisely over there. And this is where I start to really lose my mind listening to people talk about how Iran is winning this war. Like it's sure, they are a regime that continues to thrive sort of under extreme duress and is maintaining their level of control over their population there, seemingly. Right. But the idea that they're somehow winning this war when all of their leaders have been killed multiple times, right? When their only bargaining chip at this point is their ability to take pot shots in speedboats at ships in the Strait of Hormuz, which is not like. And then there was that thing over the course of the last 2 weeks where Trump is like, "Oh, you're going to close the Strait of Hormuz? Fuck you! We're going to close the Strait of Hormuz." Which at first I thought, like, what are we talking about? Like, it sounds ridiculous. Like, how is you stopping all of the traffic on the strait any better for the global economy than Iran is? But it seemed like they were actually going to have some sort of a system where they were letting things go as long as they weren't coming from Iran or docking in Iran or something like that. Right. Although there was I think there was one Chinese flagged oil tanker that did get through. I don't know. It doesn't fucking matter. It made for, I think, easy jokes, but ultimately, like, the U.S. appeared to have taken over the strait for a time. Right.
Which is not what they set out to do when they started this campaign, right? So, like, the more talk is, the more focus there is on the Strait of Hormuz. Like, if the resolution is like because this Wednesday is the end of the ceasefire that was kind of put together, and that's why there's all this attention focused on that day, because that's when the end is. So, do they go back to regular hostilities? Do they extend it further? We'll see what happens. But like, Iran just surviving is winning, right? Because basically, if the regime remains intact, I mean, the names are interchangeable, but if the regime remains intact and they keep whatever weaponry they still have, they can recover in 5 to 10 years, right? So, like, what it means to win is basically either a stalemate, which is basically the only thing they can do. They can't actually beat the U.S. and Israel, but if there's a stalemate, if they cause enough damage with their limited capacity to the global supply.
Don't mistake my belief that Iran is getting their asses kicked for a belief that this has an easy resolution where you can say the United States won.
Right, but a lot of people consider the Vietnam War as a loss, right? Basically,
it was a political loss, but it was not a military defeat.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, ultimately, like, if Vietnam took on a lot of damage, and so in that way, like, they lost, but it's the way it's remembered that this was a disastrous war for the Americans, right? So, like, if this ends up being
the problem is that it's hard to imagine how you can say it's a disastrous war for the Americans when we haven't lost anything of meaning, right? Like,
I did not think that tonight would be the night that Bob insists that we won the Vietnam War.
I'm not insisting that we won the Vietnam War.
I did not expect that.
I'm saying that
Okay, I'm just saying I didn't think this would go this way tonight.
There's a way of understanding, like, America doesn't win wars anymore sort of mentality, which is that, like, since World War II, America doesn't really win wars. But the American military doesn't lose wars. We have way too much superior firepower. We put way too many resources into these things. We lose PR battles. We lose the political end of things, and we do not always achieve all of our stated aims. Right? Like, we did not defeat the Viet Cong in a way that mattered, but that doesn't mean that we lost the Vietnam
but I mean,
War.
isn't there like some quote out there like war is basically politics through other means, right? Basically, ultimately, like winning, like the surrender of a military like Japan or Germany, like I think maybe that's how people think of things. Like things don't work that way anymore. To where like because America is so overpowering that is not even a question. Basically, it's like, can you use the machinery of war to get a country to submit or to concede to some political aim? And if you can't do that last part, then the tool of war is it's not meaningless. A lot of people die. It's very catastrophic. But like, you still have to. Winning in that context means like, repelling the communist.
Right. To be clear,
element.
I think it would be a massive failure if at the end of this, because of course, what is the conversation? Iran must reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
What was the Strait of Hormuz 2 months ago?
Right. It was
open.
Right.
Right. Like that before this started, that was the status quo. The Strait of Hormuz was open. We last talked about this sort of thing with the Houthis.
Yes.
Right. A few years before this.
Right.
Where it's like these fucking idiots are shooting rockets at ships because they happen to be geographically close and able to do the thing, and it just doesn't take very much to cause a great deal of trouble when you have these narrow passageways that are near military encampments.
Right.
And so like, it doesn't mean that America will have won if Iran declares we're going to the Strait will be back to business as usual, and like, whatever bullshit concessions that they end up making, which because I don't think that there's a inspection regime that can be relied upon to deliver anything of meaning, right? Like if they are going to continue to enrich uranium, they will, whether they say that they're agreeing to or not.
Right.
But that doesn't change the fact that a great deal of their leadership were assassinated, essentially.
Right. The people filling the roles were killed, but somebody else has taken. I mean, from what we can gather, it's kind of hard to get a good read on what's going on. But like, if regime collapse, regime change, I think like there was a lot of hope that maybe that would be the way to get to a better deal. Because like,
when I think about it in the reverse,
right.
If Bibi Netanyahu had been killed in this action and his cabinet had been 90% eliminated and also like half the members of the Likud party had been killed, we wouldn't be talking about this in terms of Israel's tremendous resilience.
Right, but I mean, if
you could tell that story 40 years from now if the government of Israel maintained and rebuilt itself.
Kind of like Ukraine, though.
Yeah, like Ukraine, withstood the assault early on.
In Ukraine, had Zelensky been eliminated in the first weeks of the operation, as the Russians believed that they could pull off, we wouldn't be talking about this in terms of Ukraine's great ongoing success,
right?
Because Russia did not pull off the decapitation that they attempted to.
Right, but I guess it is all just a vantage point, and who do you ask? So, like, I guess from the American point of view, the only impact I'm feeling, there hasn't been any gains. Like, it's not some sort of territorial war, so there's nothing gained except an additional cost that you have to pay at the pump, right? So, like, nothing changed except more on this one thing that people like to talk about. And so, like, where are the deliverables on for the Americans to say, like, this strategy
But
is
there were
working?
never any deliverables, right? They never tried to sell this in terms of its deliverables.
Yeah, they did not sell it at all. That's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem.
The thing that I bump up against is just this idea that somehow Iran is this incredible power because they've held on for so long. and endured this, and I just don't. I don't see it. It doesn't make it just or good that the United States did this, but like, don't be confused here. The United States is not. I mean, we are weakened geopolitically because of our willingness to do this without making the case for it. We are weakened, like, metaphysically, for sure. We are weakened on the longer term because of the amount of gold and treasure that we're going to have to pour into rebuilding and restocking and resupplying our military that we shouldn't. Largely, it was just a waste. Never mind the stupid calculations that you see where it's like this war will literally cost each American taxpayer tens of thousands of dollars I mean, thousands of dollars just in an oil price bump that might not ever go back down, right? Because oftentimes when you see these oil shocks, it jumps and then it sort of plateaus, but the plateau stays above where it was before, right? Even when the supply returns, and yeah, so that I'm not saying that somehow this will have been a great success for the United States, but I'm not going to turn around and say that because this was a stupid idea with unclear goals that have gone unmet doesn't mean that like Iran is winning. Like that's the narrative that I'm pushing back against.
Let's say in 10 years, like this Iranian, these weirdo religious people, that apparatus survives this, right? But there's still all this damage to the country and to the military, and it costs them upwards of $1 trillion to kind of get underneath this damage. But in 10 years, they're still there. Their regime is still in effect. Whatever peace deal or agreement about like keeping them in check kind of comes and goes. The lesson learned is that Iran survived the war, and they have this mechanism to cause havoc to the global economy. And so now it becomes even less desirable to pursue a military act. Basically, if this is a deterrent event, like
but if this is if the military action is done entirely in terms of death from above, it's not going to work. Is the lesson learned? Right.
And there's no appetite to do like a sustained like troops on the ground campaign, like
but let there be. I mean, not to go back to Afghanistan stuff, but like what worked or Iraq. What worked in Iraq was the surge when we finally were like, we're gonna commit 500,000 troops on the ground and we're gonna make this fucking shit work. Like when we choose to do it, we're not going to lose. And like, I'm not saying that we ought to choose to do it. To be clear.
And also, I mean, like the argument. I mean, like if Iran gets the nuke, it's bad for everybody. Most immediately are all the neighbors that live there, and this should be like a global concern. So like if the U.S. went about it through some sort of diplomatic means to get more countries, like rally the world, and then you'd have a stronger head. And this approach seems to have kind of backfired. Basically, this only would have worked if there was a regime collapse. Like then this would have been like a brilliant, like they went for it and it worked. But like if they went for it and it didn't work, and now you're in this weird, what do we do? We need to go through Pakistan to like what are we doing? Like this is kind of silly. Like the whole thing did not work as I think the only way this looked good is if there was a regime collapse, and they have.
I mean, you can make an argument that if they go back to status quo in the Strait of Hormuz, and they are able to extract all of the enriched uranium that they currently have, then they can at least like pin that to the wall and be like, this was worth it because of that. And on top of it, we killed a bunch of their fucking stupid monsters that they had in charge. Right?
Yeah, if there is some like the deliverables, if you have some sort of like,
it still doesn't make it. It doesn't make it that it was the right thing to do. I'm just thinking in terms of what does a non-regime collapse thing look like, where you can still someone could defensively point to it as having been a success. And I think like if you get all of the dust that Trump likes to talk about, then maybe you've accomplished something.
The one thing, like I can't imagine that money would stand in the way of some deal. Like if there was a deal and they got some actual like concessions from the Iranians as far as their enrichment goals, like stronger than what was had 10 years ago. Like if it was like a stronger get, the U.S. would have to give some money, and so for the optics of that, it's going to look
Trump
bad for
rose to power on, I mean, not precisely, but one of the things he was loudest about and continued to be loudest about was the plane
Yes.
loads full of cash that the Obama administration delivered to the Iranians.
Right.
So like he cannot possibly give them money.
But
or
you
give
can't.
even,
I just can't see a scenario where money is not involved. And I imagine the Iranians are like, how can you let this be a sticking point? Like, you're getting the thing that you want. Like you know, we're doing Lego memes online, but this has really hurt us, and we want out of this. And but we need something. You know, just throw us some money. You throw money everywhere. Like, but for political optics, Trump can't be seen to like give up even more money than like what he's accusing Obama of having given, because it would look bad. But I just don't see a way out besides that.
yeah. Anyway, hopefully he doesn't blow up all of the bridges and
Yes.
power plants in Iran. What else is going on in the news these days? Trying to think of major.
Zachariah Branch got arrested.
No, I don't want to talk about sport.
Your boy Tim Cook retired.
Yeah, Tim Cook has stepped down from Apple.
Braves are winning 9-4.
Jeff Bezos' wife was weird in the New York Times a couple weekends ago, talking about how we're just so normal. You're not normal people.
Although I always
Freaks.
wonder, like, if you're like, people live their life, right? So like, I always wondered, like, if there was some sort of like, I don't know how unusual this is because I'm living it, and this is the only thing I know, right? Like, because if you are this person, you haven't lived not being this person, so it's kind of hard to relate. To everybody else, she looks kind of stupid for saying it.
No. All right. Well, there is something in local Virginia news that I wanted to talk about that will perhaps also put me out of step with an expected position. And when I was thinking about talking about this, I was going to say, Abe, I am persuadable here, so point me in the right direction.
Right.
But I don't think that would be entirely honest. I don't think I'm persuadable here. I think I've come to my conclusion. Virginia is voting tomorrow, April 21st, Tuesday. Kids are off school because of it. And the question is on whether or not Virginia will go through a redistricting here in a non-census for non-census reasons. You'll recall at the beginning of the Trump administration, he insisted that the second Trump administration, I should say, that Texas, among other Republican states, should go through a mid-decade redistricting in order to, like, explicitly, in order to advantage himself and his party so that he would not lose the House, or hopefully to mitigate the possibility of him losing the House here in the upcoming midterms. I believe he pulled it off in Texas, correct? I think they went through with a redistricting there. I think Indiana told him to shove it, essentially, that they were not going to do it, even though there was a move. I believe there were moves in multiple other states that did not get made. And this was all being done explicitly for political gain, right? Like the Republican, and then California then had a referendum of some sort. They put it to the people and said, should California go through a redistricting process in response to what was going on in Texas? And I think that vote ended up being yes, if I'm not mistaken.
That's also correct. Right? Yep.
And so California is responding to Trump's attempt at dirty gerrymandering with fixing it on their own. The question is now coming before Virginia, and it wasn't that long ago that Virginia voted on a nonpartisan panel, essentially, doing the every decade map drawing.
Right.
We took it out of the hands of our whoever happens to be in charge of the state legislature at the time of the census coming out, and instead put it in the hands of a nonpartisan group. and that's what the current map is from this nonpartisan group. And of course, because it wasn't all of that long ago, Barack Obama made ads decrying partisan gerrymandering, and Abigail Spanberger, who's now currently the governor of Virginia, made ads explicitly decrying, like, and saying, hey, we should really be doing this. No more partisan gerrymandering. Let's put it in the hands of a nonpartisan panel and allow the people to pick their representatives rather than the politicians to select their own voters. And now we have been under a constant barrage for the last 2 or 3 months from the two parties. The Democrats saying, vote yes so that we can redraw these maps to fight back. Like, the explicit message of the Democrats' push here is that we must fight back against Donald Trump and redraw our maps in this stupid fight that we have against Texas and other Republican strongholds, so that whatever the result is, right? And the bottom line is that this is a map that would be redrawn. I think it would be 9-1 or something like that. I forget.
Is it 10-1? Like, isn't that
10-1?
I think I read somewhere it was like 10-1 something, but maybe I'm off.
That's probably right, because I think it is 11. So, yeah, they would redraw the map, which currently is fairly evenly distributed in terms of, like, we're a 60-40 state, like, and that's what it is. We're a very purpley sort of state, and instead of it being 60-40 anymore, they would redraw the maps in such a fashion that it would end up eliminating all but one Republican district, and they believe that is all's fair in love and war, as far as the gerrymandering stuff goes. And the Republicans are fighting back and saying, essentially, with the same people, right? Because of course we're getting ads with Barack Obama and Abigail Spanberger telling us, vote yes because we need to fight back against Donald Trump. And the Republicans just send out a constant barrage of ads with Barack Obama and Abigail Spanberger saying, end partisan gerrymandering, vote no.
It's super shitty.
I don't know who it's shitty by.
Right.
Like, it's not shitty of the Republicans.
It is shitty of the Republicans. They know what they're doing.
Of course they know what they're doing, but it is shit. It is, not to go back to Abe's thing about laminating your principles here, but like, if your words can so easily be used against you, where you insisted 4 or 5 years ago or whatever it is that years of partisan gerrymandering were done because in order to eliminate the black vote in this state, which of course it was, right? Like, they were all but explicitly drawing lines around black people in order to eliminate the vote. And also, the fact is, the new maps would eliminate a couple of black majority districts in this state. Yes, it would also end up with a 10-1 Democrat advantage, but it also eliminates majority black districts as they currently stand.
Right.
And so, like, you can say that it's shitty all you want, but if all you're doing is taking something that someone said a few years ago and pointing out how that argument no longer matters in the face of Donald Trump, I don't think it's particularly shitty.
If they were doing it by pointing it out, it wouldn't be shitty. If they were saying, hey, your boy just a few years ago said this wasn't okay. They're not doing that. They're acting like he just said it.
I don't think that they think that everyone is so dumb. I think this is a knowing ad campaign that is
then they should just say it.
Simply pointing out hypocrisy.
I don't think that's what it's doing at all.
I mean, I guess. I don't think it's confusing.
You should find one.
I don't think that anybody is confused about who supports which end of this here. I just think it's fairly clever marketing by the Republicans to point out that all of these Democrats said the opposite thing 5 years ago.
Right. I'll be interested to see how this shakes out, like, after the election results. Because I wonder if the message is confusing to the people who consume content through social media only. Because, TV ads, you may get a little bit of both, and that may be confusing, or something in the mail could be confusing. But these social media apps have so much information on the individual that you're just receiving whatever they, like very targeted ads. So I'll be interested to see how this works, because basically from what I gather, you're asking people to kind of betray a principle for strategy, right? Basically, it's like, I know we're against this in general, but unilateral disarmament is a fool's game. Like, we should not be like above it if somebody else is doing this thing. Like, and so like,
you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Let's both be on the same footing. But to do that, you have to betray a value system that you've been pushing for many years, which is right. So,
do you believe in anything or don't you?
Right.
And the answer is no, I don't. If I'm going to vote yes on this, then I don't believe in the thing that I thought I believed in. All I care about is political power. And to be clear, I think that the thing that is most shameful here is that it won't matter in terms of the bigger picture at all. The thing that they're hoping to achieve will simply be like whatever good they think they're going to get out of going 10-1 Democrats in this state, which is a little bit of a larger majority after the 2026 midterms, is not going to matter in terms of whether or not Donald Trump is impeached by the next Congress that is seated, right?
Yeah.
Because if the Democrats take over with a 3-seat advantage or a 7-seat advantage or a 17-seat advantage, he's going to be impeached.
Right.
It doesn't like that. That's unquestioned, and this is going to have no impact whatsoever on the Senate question, right? Which is what you need in terms of getting to a conviction. And by the way, we're not going to get to a conviction-proof majority over there in the Senate.
Right. I mean, the problem is that this approach is kind of a race to the bottom. Like Texas did it, so California is going to do it, so Ohio is going to look into it, so Virginia will do too. Like, this makes everything worse, right? So like that's why anytime people push for these sort of measures, it's a very corrosive to the system. And so like, if you can avoid giving in, like, it does do a great service to the cause of getting rid of gerrymandering. But now, like, whenever it's inconvenient to get rid of that way of thinking, you're saying that this is not really a policy you're going to pursue long term, because basically,
right. And in the last couple of weeks, the ads have all focused on how this is just a one-time deal, right? Like up to that point, they hadn't even mentioned that. But then, as they realized that the Republicans' end of it was maybe having some persuasive effect on people, they started with these ads like, this is just, look, we're just doing this one time. This is just a one-time exception because of what they've done in Texas, and we're not going to do it again in the future. We'll go back to the nonpartisan deal as soon as we get our way this time. And if you believe that, then you have to believe that, therefore, Texas and Georgia or Ohio or whoever wouldn't do this again given the opportunity, right? And of course they would.
Right.
And instead what you have to do is, in ABs, laminate your principles and say, this is what we believe. And it's hard to ever buy the good faith of the other side in the current political environment, but I think that you go a long way towards establishing your bona fides in terms of this is actually something that matters to us. This is something that we believe, and we're not willing to sell that out for a goal that, to be clear, will have no impact whatsoever on the world beyond the negative impact it has in terms of what the other side thinks about.
Right, and this year especially, just based on all the polls that are coming out, the margins are razor thin as it is. I mean, the Republicans have lost the House already. So, like, the margins, it's not worth it to give up, like, some value system just for a couple of extra seats. But it'll be interesting to see how things turn out, because I don't know what the current polls show or what the prediction market indicates. But if this is like a solid, like, let's do what needs to be done, it's going to suggest that people are that angry that they're willing to say, like, whatever.
I mean, I have every reason to believe that this is going to succeed, because who is motivated at the moment? And it's the Democrats. And it's almost inevitable at this point that this is going to be a yes. but it's not going to change the math in the Senate. And I fully don't understand why you think this is worth it to get 3 or 4 more Democrats seated in the House of a House that is going to go blue anyway in November. It can only be understood as a naked political power grab. They're taking advantage of how abhorrent Donald Trump is to so many people because of his, to be clear, because of his actions so far in his second term. But I don't understand how you think it's worth it. You're not getting the 2/3 conviction in the Senate unless he does something. Like you have to start playing silly hypothetical games to imagine the sort of thing he would have to do.
Oh, like something like an insurrection
to get impeached,
like that kind
and convicted.
Silly hypothetical.
No, I'm saying because that was not enough to do the fucking trick. You need 70 goddamn Democrats in the Senate in order to get a conviction, and you're not ever going to get there. That's not the world that we live in.
Right.
So like you're playing in a stupid fucking sandbox that is only further poisoning any chance that you have of not having independent-minded conservatives think you're anything but a fucking party hack. Anyway, I'll be voting no, to be clear, because, and it's funny because I've had people come bother us at the House more than once. I was like,
I get texts like twice a day.
Vote yes, right? Because Trump, I think Trump's real bad. You can go away. I don't want to talk about this anymore. But like, I'm just trying to give him the brush off there. I can't see how I could vote yes on this and live with myself. What about you, Lori? What are you doing?
I'll probably vote. I'm nothing if not practical. I'm not a principles person.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But what is the practicality? Show me the practicality.
I can't.
Right. So
I can't. We can't. I could not vote.
So then it is in fact not something. Then it is in fact not a question of practicality. It is in fact a principle that you're voting on. It's just not one of yours. And the principle is Trump bad. So
Trump bad.
This side.
Trump bad.
Sure.
I mean, if there's something I can do.
I agree more and harder than anyone you know.
But if there's something I can do, but like, Virginia's gonna, what did you say? The House is gonna flip anyway. We can't be sure of that.
Oh, we can.
I don't think you can be everyone was so sure he would never be president. And then everyone was so sure he wouldn't be president again. Like, you can't be sure of these things. So the small practical thing I can do is I won't be sad if it doesn't pass. This is great. I'll vote yes. I don't want to argue. I don't like it.
That could have been the marketing strategy, right? Don't be sure, make sure. Make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, that's a better marketing strategy. But I don't want to argue. Like I feel like maybe this is how things used to be in like a household where people vote differently.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, hey, you do you, I'll do me.
Yeah.
I won't be upset if it doesn't pass. Right. I don't care. I don't like that everybody gets to sleep in tomorrow but me.
Is this a new thing? Because this is not like a general election
It was a surprise. They have to use the schools.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yes.
So Kalshi has this at 83% Virginia redistricting referendum will succeed.
Oh, wow.
So can I not? Can I just not?
And the 2026 midterm balance of power, Kalshi currently has a Democratic House, Democratic Senate as a 52% chance.
That's not a lot.
But that's all because of the Senate.
Right, it's all because of the Senate, and that's an insane number. Right. You're not at a coin flip for a Democratic Senate right now.
We'll see how I feel tomorrow. Maybe I just won't.
But to be clear, the reason that I'm asking for the practicality here is that even if the Democrats win the House and win the Senate, it still won't matter in terms of Donald Trump. Like none of it matters in terms of Donald Trump. They're giving you a fake carrot here. It's a bullshit carrot.
You can say that you won't want to talk to me anymore if I vote yes
I don't
on
give
this.
a shit
that...
about whether or not you vote on it. I'm just saying.
Okay, well then why are we talking about it?
Because it's just.
But I don't. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. I don't think the way you do, so I don't want to. I won't have the conversation that you require because of who I am. I don't think that
and
way.
I think that it is an unfortunate way of expressing one's.
I could just not go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not telling you that
Maybe
I'm
I just won't go.
going to sit
I need
in
to return
judgment.
some shoes and
I'm
go
not
to the
going
bank.
to tell you that I'm going to sit in judgment of however you vote
Okay,
or
I just
choose
won't
to
go.
vote
I don't want to
tomorrow.
talk about it.
Jesus Christ.
I need to go to the bank. I need to return some shoes.
Fucking giving me the whole Patrick Bateman here with I need to return some videotapes.
I need to return shoes to Staples. I need to go to the bank so I can pay bills.
Probably shouldn't have bought your shoes at Staples, idiot. Anyway, as usual, I will be on the losing side of my vote, and that's fine. I don't know. Maybe it's a loser's game to expect good faith.
No, from Republicans?
Anyone anymore? No, not from Republicans. From the Democrats here. This is an effort. If it is at all defensible, it's only defensible in terms of they picked up the gun first.
Right. What's weird is that in Texas, anyways, it could backfire because some of the modeling that was used to determine how to split things up is using like 2024 data that was like basically like the high water mark for Trump when it comes to certain demographics, and like if that natural shift back that typically happens in the midterm year happens, then they may not get those, I think, +5 seats. They may actually only get like 1 or 2. So this may not actually work to whatever advantage that they set out to get for nothing.
Yeah. Did you see this mass shooting in Louisiana where this guy killed 7 of his own kids and 1 other kid?
Yeah, this is the family annihilator things, right?
Yeah, he's the family annihilator. But remember the Virginia guy killed his wife.
That's right.
Justin Fairfax.
You know what's getting boring is like charming leaders who turn out to be sexual creeps and then are violent. I'm getting bored by it because it's just like, oh, yeah, that's what happens.
So Justin Fairfax was a lieutenant governor in Virginia under Ralph Northam. And when Ralph Northam was discovered to have dressed up in blackface as a college student.
This feels like a million years ago. Wow, that just happened just a few years ago.
Unfortunately for Justin Fairfax, who was thinking at the time, I can give old Northam the elbow here because he did the bad.
Yes.
And I'm a young on the come up black fella politician, and this old fuddy duddy white fella Democrat in Virginia did racist shit back in the day. Maybe I can I can weasel my way in here, but unfortunately, this was also happening at the time of not just the George Floyd stuff, but Me Too. And you don't. And unfortunately for Justin Fairfax, he did bad Me Too shit along the way, and a number of, at least I think 2, maybe more.
It's always more. Women
came out and accused him of forcing himself upon them in a sexual fashion. Not that this is immediately condemnatory, but one of the accusers looked not dissimilar from his wife. Like, so it's
really?
Not to say that you have to have a type when you're a sexually violent person. But she looked a little bit like his old lady there.
Just like Sharon Moore. Same thing. Charming leader.
That's right, yeah.
Creep.
Who says Sharon Moore was charming? I was never charmed by that guy.
I think
blubbering for his coach,
I wasn't. People are charmed. If you're a head coach of a Power 4 football team, you have something.
Yeah, you need to be a schmoozer, right? How do you get these kids to commit to your program? You got to be able to talk to them.
In any event,
Anyway, he killed his wife.
Justin Fairfax thought he was like coming, and then it turned out he was not coming. And then he's had a bad last few years, apparently.
Apparently, he took to drink and like he wasn't raising the kids. Like, what a piece of shit this guy is. Like, he just a total negative all the way through.
Yeah, and then she's finally like they're finally going through the divorce proceedings or what have you, and he's decided I'd rather not. And so he kills the old lady and kills himself, leaves the kids to fend for themselves.
In the house. Teenagers in the house.
Orphaned his own kids.
Yeah. And then this guy in Louisiana, not as many details on this situation, at least that I've seen, except that 8 dead and 7 of them were his own children.
Just a horror show.
Yeah. Don't do that, everybody. As Abe used to say, if you want to do murder-suicide,
yes,
start with the latter.
Just kill yourself first. Just order it. I mean, I don't know what goes in someone's mind to like, is this a power thing? Like I'm losing control and I want to inflict damage on the way out. Like it is such a like coward's move that it's. Yep. It's remarkable that it's
I heard on your other podcast there, the Biffler, that one of your co-hosts said it's worse that he didn't kill the children because the children now have to live with the fact. I don't
hugely disagree with that.
Dad killed mom and then killed himself. And I would say, let's not put that out in the ether.
Right.
It is the psychological trauma that you have to live with for the rest of your life is worth it in my estimation. Granted, I am not someone who's had to experience that sort of
maybe
interpersonal violence
maybe
visited
the guy
upon.
in Louisiana listens to the Biffler.
Yeah. So yeah, don't also kill your children if you're gonna kill your wife. Don't kill your wife either.
Yeah.
But leave the kids alone. But I understand that sort of instinct that like that would feel so destabilizing that maybe it would be better. But my feeling is that no, it's never better to be dead.
Yeah, because at least when you're alive, you can work through those issues. It's not going to be easy. I can't imagine it would be, but like it's preferable to dying.
Yeah. Kash Patel is suing The Athletic and the New York Times for hundreds of millions of dollars because of reporting that he drinks too much and doesn't show up for work.
It's hard to figure out who in this administration is the drinker because it seems to be more than one, right? There's been stories about Hegseth. There's been stories about the labor secretary who's stepped down today. And Kash Patel, he was seen celebrating with a hockey team. That's a one-off maybe. Or is he just a degenerate drunk? In any event, this has to be like a last card to play before he gets kicked out of the FBI. Like I can't imagine that they just made up the story, right? They probably have a lot of people who verified this guy likes to drink and the opportunity to drink. And so this lawsuit is like to give the impression of an innocent person because that's what you would do if you're innocent. Like, how dare you? I'll see you in court, right? So he's posturing at innocence, but are his days numbered? Like, I can't imagine he's going to make it to the summer.
Yeah, and also when the director of the FBI is suing essentially the last remaining newspaper in the United States of America, I don't want to hear any more about how they're the staunch defenders of free speech. That's the opposite of what's going on there. No Strassman tonight. No other stuff either, because why prattle on when we have cultural topics to discuss? I'm sure you've been listening to Cast Iron Brains, a podcast with Bob and Abe. Find the show on Substack, brainiron.substack.com for more from us. The opening and closing themes of the show were composed by Mark Gillig, tetramermusic.com, Tetramer music.com for more from Mark. Abe, it's been a couple of weeks. What movies have you been to?
Very quiet on the movie front. The only one, I went to go see Hamlet, a set in the modern day London, like some sort of like South Asian Indian kind of family. But but it's basically set in modern day, but it's like the play, and sometimes
they're reading the Shakespeare.
Yeah, and it sometimes felt jarring, and other times it kind of worked. But overall, I'd say it was fine. Like it was a bit odd to see that, just the visuals and the language. And then I watched this god awful documentary on Netflix, The False Prophet.
I loved it. You didn't
No,
like
I
that?
liked it. Just the subject matter, just like, because here's the thing: this person, he found an opportunity. I guess the Mormons, this weird offshoot of the.
No, it's the FLDS.
Yeah, the
It's the
FLDS.
Warren Jeffs people.
Yeah.
It's not the Mormons.
Yeah, but this is not a well mapped out belief system. So there are holes that these low character types can fill. And so, like, he basically took over for when that Jeffs guy was in prison. And he's like, I'm the guy. Like, don't listen to whatever you hear elsewhere. And he's, like, sexually abusing, like, children. Like, just the
He's
worst
just doing
person
Warren
ever.
Jeffs.
But, I mean, yeah, it's an engaging documentary, but it's just a very depressing one.
I loved this documentary. And I think it's largely because of, like, the woman main character, sort of.
Yeah.
Because there was Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey, which was the documentary about Warren Jeffs, FLDS, disgusting. And this woman I think she aimed to make a documentary because she felt like these people were being stigmatized. And she kind of wanted to show not that they're not weird, but like it's okay to be weird. And they're sad now and it's weird. And she was like, she meets this man who is creepy and has wives when they're all told not to.
Yeah.
And he wants to be on camera. And it's just like, okay, things are actually really bad. I was very charmed by her.
Yeah.
And I just finished it yesterday or something. I don't even know what day it is. Friday?
Yeah.
I finished it Friday. I loved it. I don't love that it happened. It's bad.
Right. But I mean, there
But
were
as a
there were
thing to watch.
It's like he's abusing children and he's making their parents watch. Like, it is just like very unusual human behavior.
Because God?
Yeah,
That was
basically,
the
yeah,
excuse?
because God.
Yes.
He had an impression. He would say he got an impression from the Lord.
Yeah, basically, he's kind of like leveraging the
The
belief
impression
system.
from the Lord was, I need to diddle this child in front of its parents?
Yeah.
But it is interesting
To
how you can
prove-
kind of capture a belief system and use it to harm people, and they kind of have to go with it because they're like, well, he's saying the things. Basically, it resonates that this is plausible. Like this very unimpressive
the prophet,
God.
so I
A
guess I
very
have to.
Unimpressive person who just wants to be on camera. Like, not a very sophisticated person, not a particularly charming person.
Sort of a loser.
Just a loser. And for a loser to be able to take over a faith system in such a way is just shocking. It's like, holy shit. Because in the past, you would think, they need to be like these charismatic people, larger than life. But nope, this guy's just, I don't know, Jesus, or the Lord told me.
Leave it to me to make this claim. It's just adjacent to claims that I've made before. But we do a real poor job of separating drive and ambition from virtue or intelligence even or good.
Yeah.
Right? Like as a that is fundamental to the American character, is being utterly unable to discern between drive and ambition and good.
Right.
And maybe it's not just the American character.
Yeah, because these people aren't super American.
But there is something in human nature that says the thing with the power is the good thing. Right?
Yeah.
It's funny because I forget why I was having this thought, but a lot of stories platonic ideal of a story involves like the rags to riches. Here's the underdog.
Fighting
and
the odds.
Right. You beat the odds or what have you. The fact is, Americans don't like the bullied person who stands up for themselves. We are annoyed by that person. We much prefer the bully, right? We like, and I cop to it myself. I like Michael Jordan. I rooted for the guy who had nothing but hate, rage, win inside him. He wanted only. He had massive ambition and massive drive. Tiger Woods was the same way, right? What was great about Tiger was that he married this insane desire to be the greatest ever with an incredible amount of skill. And it poisoned the rest of his life in all likelihood, right? And the same argument can be made about Michael through the years. We, as a species, have this disgusting deference to power in all of its awful forms. And as a particular or peculiar American culture version of it is this utter inability to discern between drive and ambition and the good.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know how that relates to the fucking Warren Jeff shit.
A little. I watch a lot of.
That's right. Sorry, but what I was saying was, I'm not surprised that this guy's a fucking stupid creep.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Like,
Okay.
He's an unimpressive fucking weirdo creep. Yeah, of course he is. It doesn't matter. What he has is ambition and drive, and that's effectively all you need to get ahead. Sorry.
It's fine. As I watch a lot of documentaries about bad things that happen, and most of the time it is only satisfying, like the train wreck, like, oh, look at this thing that happened. But these 4-hour-long episodes were very good. Like, this was a well done piece of material that people should watch.
Gotcha. What else you watch, Abe?
That is all. Just, the
Nice.
Survivor, NBA playoffs, regular stuff.
Oh yeah, the playoffs are underway.
Yeah. And
Hockey playoffs look fun.
Yeah, the hockey players look fun. We don't have an Atlanta team here, so it's been not exactly competitive in some of the games, but usually the second round things pick up. But fun times.
Who's going to win it all in the NBA playoffs this year?
Well, like I said some time ago, the greatest player ever is this Victor Wembanyama kid, right? He just won unanimous Defensive Player of the Year, as he should. I'm interested to see how the Spurs do, San Antonio does. I'm rooting for that possibility for them to win, so it's not like I'm not biased. Like I want the Spurs to win this year, but just, entertaining basketball is all I want.
All right. What
We
did we
also
watch?
watched Greenland.
We watched Greenland, which is the fucking, what's his name?
The guy from 300.
Gerard
Yeah.
Butler.
Gerard Butler movie.
Yeah.
It was
We
terrible.
watched it.
It was way worse than I thought it was going to be, and I
It was
expected
really
it
bad.
to be bad, but it was.
But it was fun. We had fun.
Everybody that helped them dies, right? Like
A lot of, everybody dies.
Yeah,
So-
that's true. But it's funny that he's like stuck somewhere, and then some random person is able to assist him, and then for it,
I think that's Greenland 2 that you were
Yeah,
describing.
I
was,
feel like
was
people
that
Oh.
we watched the
didn't die.
OG.
if you didn't like the
Original.
first one, the second one is. Whew.
No, the thing that I picked up on in watching
No
Greenland.
one said we didn't like it.
What's that?
I didn't like it.
I liked it.
Uh,
It was fun. I had fun.
the problem with the original Greenland is not that everyone dies, it's that you know that when you meet a minority or person of color, they're going to be a good.
Oh,
and when you, like
It's Atlanta. It takes place in Atlanta.
well, yeah, sort of, but like they survive whatever fucking trauma they're going through, and they get picked up by this white couple, and the white couple turns out to be monsters, and they kidnap the child.
Well,
and
just the dad.
the
The
woman
guy.
fucking sucks. She didn't
No.
stop anything from happening. So they kidnap the child and kick the mom out of the car and leave her to suffer on the side of the road and steal her child away from her. That's the white. And then a bus full of Mexicans pulls up. And it's like, oh, we help you. And then later on, there's a black character that Gerard Butler interacts with. And it's like, when he goes on to describe him later, after he has been killed for being a nice person, he's like, he was just a really good guy, told me this. And like whatever it was, it's just very, very much somebody punched this up after George Floyd. But a terrible movie. What else did we watch?
I mean, really nothing. Nothing.
We watched the first.
Oh, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh yeah, we watched the first of the MCU Spider-Man movies.
Oh,
which wasn't any good. It was okay, I guess.
Whatever. Why are we here? Why are we doing this?
It felt like a stupid tease that Zendaya was in this movie as a nothing character just to give you the stupid stinger at the end where she's like, my friends call me MJ. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. MJ was here the whole time, and that's why she got this role. But, like, that was fucking stupid.
I had a problem with when they revealed that the romantic you know how with Spider-Man, it's always like the buddy's dad that's the bad guy. They revealed this far too late to the audience.
Okay.
So I didn't care. Like, there was the dramatic irony of we know that's the guy and he doesn't was absent from the movie until well into the third act. And it's like, well, I don't care.
The problem is that so this is a structural issue with this sort of story they're trying to tell, which on the one hand, this is supposed to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which means that the existential fate of all humanity, nay, life in the universe, is at question here, right? Which is not to say that you cannot tell a small neighborhood Spider-Man story and have it be compelling and effective without it having all of the larger civilizational end stakes that are going on in the larger MCU. But when Iron Man can just swoop in at any moment and save the day, like, it does feel kind of silly. And when you talk and when all of that stuff is happening so near to this story, like it was almost a detriment to the story that they decided to tie it directly into the stakes of the larger MCU, because just by being in conversation with that story, it takes the silly small thing that's happening here and makes it feel incredibly silly and small. And it seems like there was no reason for that. They could have just told a good Spider-Man story.
I do wonder if there's like some sort of contractual obligation to tie these things in. You know, like we need the connection.
Well, have the fucking courage of your conviction here that you've got Spider-Man, right? You've got the moneymaker. Right. But before anybody gave a shit about stupid Iron Man and Captain America and Thor, like, nobody cared. Right. They did a great job turning this into a marketable piece of IP. But before the first Iron Man movie, nobody gave a shit about any of those characters. Right. Yeah, but you've got Spider-Man here, and you have a pretty good Spider-Man in this teenaged what's his name who portrays him.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. It was stupid. Also, I prefer my Spider-Mans to have the accoutrement come out of their own bodies.
Oh, you don't like the gadget?
Rather than it being technology. Yeah. I like it to be sort of gross body horror stuff, rather than some fancy suit that Tony Stark makes for him. But yeah, it was the first time that I've seen. I mean, these movies have been around forever. I didn't see any of.
What's the title of this one? Something Home?
Homecoming.
It was Homecoming. Okay. And there's a new one coming out this summer. Yeah. I think like the fourth one is coming out this summer.
Yeah, it's something home something.
Well, because it's like Homecoming, and then there's like a Far From Home, I think is the second one.
A Brand New Day is this one.
Brand New Day is this one.
Oh, also Aunt May is hot.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei.
They made her hot.
Yeah, usually she's old and gray-haired,
Yeah.
but this time she's like,
Young and hot.
in her late 40s and smoking. I wouldn't say young. Come on.
She's younger than she's supposed to be.
Yeah. I'd never previously wanted to bang Aunt May.
Neither did Tony Stark.
No. Abe, have you got anything else for us tonight?
Nope.
I guess that's all we've got for you tonight then. And we'll talk to you next time.
Later.
The county guy emailed me on Friday evening, like 5 o'clock on a Friday. I was like, hey, just so you know, there's a PTO event happening all day long at that school on Sunday. So the fields are closed to you on Sunday. And this is immediately like sort of an emergency for
This
me.
is that
because,
Sunday, 2 days after this notification.
Right.
And also Saturday, baseball wall to wall all
Right.
day.
I got to the field at 7:45 on Saturday and didn't leave until 8:30 or something
Wow.
Saturday night.
Yeah, no time to worry about it on Saturday.
So I emailed the guy back and I'm like, okay, like we won't be on those fields. I've heard, because I had heard this from someone else, that the fields at Dardentoe aren't being used. And I have no understanding of what the fields at Dardentoe are because I've never considered them as an option in terms of baseball. I just know it as a soccer place, but I have driven by and I've seen fields down there. It's just was never made available to me, so I didn't think about it. And he's like, yeah, you can have one of the fields on Sunday afternoon. There's nobody on it. I was like, okay, great. Thinking I'm going to get there and it's not going to be ideal, but I'll make it work or whatever. And I get on one of these fields and it's a 46-60 field. And I'm like, okay, good news is I had loaded up the car. So I've got bases that I can throw down at the proper distance. Let's see if I can dig these bases out just for the time being or whatever and make this work. And then I would just walk across the sidewalk there to the other field. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, this one's bigger, but it's not super bigger. It's just a little bit bigger. And I get out my tape measure and I measure it, and it's a 50-70 field. And the outfield is pristine. And it's got
gorgeous.
It's got a 300-foot fence. And they've got
There's bleachers
and irrigation in the ground because they regularly water
and bathrooms.
Wow.
Yeah, and bathrooms. We're not using a single porta potty out behind of a goddamn elementary school. There are public facilities there. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this guy's in charge of the entire county Parks and Rec department. I asked him multiple times if he had a 50-70 fucking facility that I could use to play baseball on. And the answer was nothing. Like, no, I can't think of anything. Sorry. And then today I'm emailing with him again. I'm like, hey, man, that worked out great. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Can I have it?
Can I have it? And he's like, yeah, nobody's on it Monday through Friday, but occasionally we host softball tournaments on the weekends on that field. It's like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Like, I haven't had a stress-free breath about this division for any number of reasons. Primarily is not having the physical infrastructure to play the sport by the rules of the sport, right? Like, that's the main hurdle, is I have been faking it on a Little League diamond as best I can, when apparently, just across town, there was
It is a pain to get to.
pristine piece of infrastructure already in place that I could have been using all along.
Why was this information not available to you sooner? Like, is this person
no
just...
Or wait. As someone who works for a government, would it shock you if maybe someone who worked for government was not the most awesome at their job?
No, that...
The proceeding was created with 100% human content.